termite season.
Hi, it's me.
And bugs fear the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control.
Go blue at Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. And stop paying too much to that national provider. Buy local for great service and affordable rates. Call Essential Pest Control because termites fear the blue.
Run for your life.
Call for the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. 886-3029. That's 886-3029. Or check online at essentialpest.com.
This is Eb Wilkinson with Wilkinson Wealth Management, where we manage money for gun owners. What does it mean to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired? It means designing a plan that allows you to do the things you want to do, outpace inflation, and never run out of money in your lifetime. If you want to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired, call me, Eb Wilkinson, at 777-1911. That's 777-1911 or WilkinsonWealthMGMT.com.
I'm proud to welcome my good friends at Tucson Iron and Metal Retail to Inside Track as an advertiser. Jamie Kipper and her staff are conservation experts. They sell round and square steel tubing, metal plate and roofing materials, as well as new and used steel, aluminum, and stainless steel to ranchers, artists, interior designers, roofers, as well as you do-it-yourselfers out there. Tucson Iron and Metal Retail is open Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail, 701 East 36th Street. Call 520-209-1576. That's 520-209-1576. Or go to TucsonIronRetail.com. Come by and be sure to ask for Jamie. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail. This is what conservation and repurposing is all about. Live from Marana, Bruce Ash and
Eb Wilkinson.
Welcome back. We have another action-packed Big Wednesday show for you today on Inside Track. Yep.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. As Bruce just said, we've got another great Inside Track episode for you today on Big Wednesday. Joining us in just a few moments is Gerri Willis from Fox Business Channel. Gerri is great, and she's the author of a great publishing hit on the 160th anniversary ending of the Civil War, Lincoln's Lady Spymaster, the untold story of the abolitionist Southern Belle who helped win the Civil War, which is now in its fourth printing.
Which is amazing. Book just came out, I think, in early June.
And in the second half of today's Big Wednesday Inside Track podcast, we'll catch up with friend of the show and Tucson City Council candidate Janet Wittenbraker and talk about the upcoming election in November. Thanks for joining us on the Live the Dream media app, watching us on Facebook and YouTube and many other platforms. To talk to us or our guest today, call at 520-771-5101 or send a message to us live on the Live the Dream Media Facebook site.
Eb and I hope that you will continue supporting our great sponsors who help us pay the man here at Live the Dream Media. Eb's great company, Wilkinson Wealth Management. He helps my family, and he will help yours as well. Our good friend Eric Rudin at Essential Pest, his team of professionals protects all manner of pests, vermin, and weeds. I'm going to see his crew member at one of our properties next week where, we haven't had one pest problem since they started working for us at that property. They do a terrific job. And how about Jamie Kipper from Tucson Iron Metal Retail and my family's three-generation company, Paul Ash Commercial Real Estate. When you call on any of our supporters, please tell them you found out about their business from Eb and Bruce on Inside Track. Eb?
Hey, we are pleased to welcome our first guest today.
We hope she's here.
We hope she's here.
Or soon.
I haven't heard the little...
She's not here?
It's for a few minutes before Gerri joins us. Another interesting Tucson City Council primary election where they probably got about a 10% turnout. And this is with ballots that are sent to their house by mail, and all they had to do was fill them out and send them in. They didn't even have to put a stamp on it.
Wow.
And that's how much people have trust in Tucson City government today. And that includes Republicans.
Absolutely.
because the turnout for them, is lower than low, and it's a tough place. At some point in time, people are going to come to the realization that this is we're in crisis mode.
Absolutely.
We are in crisis mode. They
We
just
are.
haven't figured it out.
You look at them and say, what are you, apathetic or ignorant? And they say, I don't know and I don't care.
They're ignorant.
So tell me about the Democratic Socialist.
Which
Getting-
one? They're all.
Well, yeah, but two of them are self-proclaimed Democratic Socialists.
So the two of them are self-proclaimed, and let me get their names here in a second. Barajas and Schubert, I think. And they're self-confessed, and they're part of the Grijalva, Romero, Laney Santa Cruz, that whole gang.
Or the Workers' Party.
Well, they don't work very much, but they collect a lot of free stuff from the government. And it's a slam dunk. It's a 6-0 Democrat City Council with a Democrat mayor, and they're going to do what they're going to do. The interesting vote that they're going to take at their next meeting will be on Project Blue. We'll see how that turns out. There's no telling what's going to happen there.
What do you think will happen there?
I think it's going to get voted down. And I think it probably gets voted down at the county level as well. I was talking to my wife about this morning, and she said, how do you feel about it? And I said, I'm resigned to whatever they're going to do because there's not much anybody can do about it. But nobody likes the idea that county and city were negotiating with this company, now pretty much known as Amazon, for a data center. Nobody likes the fact that they were negotiating in private. Then once we heard what that financial program looked like, it's even stinkier. If we had a whole bunch of high tech here in this county, and we had a whole bunch of high-tech infrastructure with businesses and factories and research centers that were already here, I certainly might put my support in on this if I was an elected official. We have none of that. The only bone that we've been able to get thrown at us is this stupid data center, which eventually it's going to come here. Okay,
Right.
It may not be this iteration, but it's going to be here at some point in time. TEP says that they have to build probably another generator in order to
Power it.
In order to power it. City of Tucson, the mayor specifically bears responsibility for this. She sold our rights to millions and millions of gallons of CAP water because they were looking for dough to do other things. We're not in a position to give up approximately 15 to 20% of our total water to a data center, and that's just one data center. We're not in that position. It's 75 jobs that are only guaranteed for 3 years.
Wow.
And I don't know how that benefits any of us. And the trade-offs with respect to what the city and the county are talking about doing business with Amazon, except for an Amazon fulfillment center, which has nothing to do with the technology part of the company. We don't have really any relationship with Amazon, with Apple, with Microsoft,
No.
with Taiwan Semiconductor. They're all focused on Phoenix and Maricopa County because that's where a better class of workers are. They've managed to locate themselves in areas of the valley there where they're away from the crime in central Phoenix with nicer homes and better schools. We don't have any of that to offer here, or I shouldn't say we have nothing to offer. Oro Valley,
We don't have that to offer.
Marana, Saurita, Vale on the periphery are there, but this thing would have to be located in the county someplace. And I'm not sure that any of the big companies are going to come down here because overall they're looking at schools and education. They're looking at public safety, and they're saying, why should we go to a place like Tucson? And that's what they've been saying for years.
And sadly, they're correct.
Well, yeah, I hate to admit it.
Well, okay, put yourself in their position. Let's say you are the president of a high-tech industry, Bruce's semiconductor chip company.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a choice between going up to Maricopa County or coming down to Tucson and Pima County. Which one are you choosing?
Well, I know clearly the one that I would choose. It's the one with the better roads, the better education, the better government, a more robust economic life, a better housing supply. I mean, all of those things favor Maricopa County. Pinal County also has the same sorts of things to afford new businesses. Even Coconino County. I mean, Flagstaff, hey, it gets cold and it gets snow during the winter, but still it's a great place to live. And,
and they've got ski slopes.
Yeah, they have lots of stuff to do up there. And they do have a university to draw upon. I don't know much about Coconino County schools, but these are places that are far more desirable than Tucson and Pima County. And you look at the government itself in Pima County and Tucson. I mean, there's no diversity. There's just absolutely no diversity. Steve Christie, God bless this guy for continuing to do the job that he's done. He's the only guy that we're one vote away from getting a new increased taxes. And he's the guy who puts up the defense. In Tucson, they basically do whatever they want. And
they get away with it.
Yeah, and look, we've seen a breach, if you will. I guess we're not going to have Gerri here today. I might be wrong about that, but it looks like there was a hole in her calendar for today. So we might as well talk about this stuff. We'll have Janet Wittenbraker on at the bottom of the hour, and we can continue this conversation. And Janet, if you're listening, or if you're inside the Live
come
the
on
Dream
by
media, come on in. We'll start your segment even sooner. But why would anybody want to come to Tucson? Only if the city of Tucson prostrates themselves further. Okay, Chris says it very well. He's been saying this for well over a decade, almost 2 decades. The city of Tucson is always negotiating from their knees. I used to say that Pima County and Tucson got the leftovers. They got the crumbs that fell off the table. We're not even getting the crumbs anymore. And when you're forced to negotiate from your knees with somebody like Amazon, they are tough negotiators. They get what they want, or they walk and they go down the road to someplace else.
Absolutely.
And when you're in that position, you're in no position to be able to get a favorable deal.
And the problem with the voters of Pima County and the voters of the city, they're just comfortable enough that they don't want to be uncomfortable by picking something else. So
I was going to the airport, I think 2 weeks ago. And for whatever reason, I took a wrong turn, and I said, I'm just going to stay with this. I'm not going to go back and correct my driving error. And I was going through some of the areas on the southwest side of Tucson, in neighborhoods around Drexel and Bilby,
sure,
around Benson Highway and so on. And really, you think that you're in a third world country. You think that you're in Mexico. It's not just the people who are living there. It's the condition of the homes, the conditions of the streets, the lack of business, the lack of grocery stores. I can't remember if you and I have talked about this, but in South Tucson, there was such a big hullabaloo made several years ago when Food City went into the shopping center across from the Veterans Administration.
Sure, right there at Ajo and I know exactly where you're talking about.
I think it's Ajo and 6 or Ajo
Yeah.
and 12. And now they're talking about leaving. They talk about food deserts in this country. Well, that's a food desert because nobody wants to be there.
And talk about why Food City is leaving. It's because they open the doors every day and all the homeless come in and take whatever they want and leave.
Right. There was on another radio station, on a different network, a council member from Kansas City, Missouri, was a guest on the show. And he talked about how Mondami's idea in New York to subsidize grocery stores and basically make them government grocery stores, that was the plan in Kansas City, Missouri, because they had gone to free bus passes without any ID, without any sort of controls. They've had the same problems with knifings, with beatings, with abuse of drivers, abuse of other riders, damage to the buses, and all the people in that area, in his ward, if you will, they were those homeless people, those thugs and gangsters and what have you. They were going to the store, and the only way that store was going to stay open is if the government was giving them money, subsidizing their operation. And now, finally, they're talking about removing the free bus rides for people. This town, I mean, they absolutely want nothing at all to do with that.
Yeah, they got to get rid of the free buses.
Yeah.
They just have to.
So I want to switch topics if I can.
Sure.
Jerry's not here. We have full reign to do whatever we want. And Janet will be with us shortly. Today is a date that hardly anybody is talking about. The 80th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima, effectively the end of the Second World War. The world has never been the same since then.
No.
And America, at that moment, when they unleashed that weapon, was the strongest nation in the history of the world. I mean, by far. Most of the world's great nations have been beaten to a pulp in the Second World War. President Truman had an unbelievably terrible decision to make. One way or the other, it was a terrible decision. Do you take the lives potentially of 200,000 people? How do you measure that against the lives of perhaps a million casualties, okay, and deaths of an American or an Allied landing on the Japanese aliens? Donald Smith, Eastside Don, who's also going to be on the show in a couple of weeks, sent me an interesting message this morning online. He said that the War Department had requisitioned 500,000 Purple Heart medals.
Wow.
In anticipation of a land invasion. He said they still are operating, giving the Purple Hearts with that same 500,000.
That's incredible.
Purple Hearts. So you avoid not just the deaths or maiming injuries of 500,000 men, both ours and our allies, but to say nothing for the innocent people of Japan who would have been slaughtered in that kind of a thing as well, because there would have been continued fire bombings, which actually even before the atomic bombs were dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, they had killed far more people in the firestorm raids than they had in both of those attacks.
Absolutely.
So how do you balance, losing American and British lives, Australian lives, or Japanese lives?
And that's where leadership comes in.
And he made the hard decisions.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of things that you can criticize Harry Truman for. I think he's become a much more well-respected president now, some 80, roughly 75 years or so after he left office. But he took the tough decision and made the right decision, I think.
Absolutely.
And
there's people that will still say that was wrong. But you take a look at Hiroshima today,
right?
Compare it to downtown Detroit.
And that's amazing because Detroit's zenith of their history was World War II and after World War II. The automobile industry was the biggest, industry, and it had a tremendous kind of an impact on the entire state of Michigan and throughout the
Absolutely.
Midwest. And today it's devastated.
Absolutely.
And places like Hiroshima, Nagasaki,
they are blooming.
Right.
And the one thing that is really cool about the United States, we went in there, we destroyed it, and then we rebuilt it and gave it to them. And we didn't claim any land. We didn't take over Japan.
Just a little ground for our men and women who lost their lives.
Exactly.
Are there any American cemeteries in in Japan proper? I suspect they probably are
Don't know the
on
answer
some
to
of the
that.
islands, that were fought over in the Second World War in the Pacific. But I'm not sure about that. But we weren't interested in that kind of a conquest. We were trying to save our lives as well, between the Germans and
we weren't
and the Japanese.
Yeah, we weren't trying to conquer anybody.
We were trying to defend ourselves and our allies. I think it's interesting that so few people are talking about this date, 80 years. And frankly, they didn't talk about it much at 75. And I'm old enough to know at 50 and even at 25. At 25, I know exactly where I was at when I realized what that date was. I was at the Old Jewish Community Center on Plummer and Broadway. And it was a big deal at that time. There were programs about it. There were speeches about that. And today, there's barely a whisper. And I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, and I was 11 then, and I remember that. I remember getting up early in the morning, turning on TV to one of the 3 stations that existed at the time, and they had a show like the old newsreels, milestones in history, showing all that. World War I, World War II, all the things that were going on. We don't do that now. We're
that opens an entire other area, in terms of educating youngsters in schools. That isn't happening today, or when it is, they're talking about all the reasons that Hiroshima and Nagasaki shouldn't have been bombed, and the devastation and the carnage that America had created for the rest of the world
because of those liberal teachers.
They're not liberals.
Or you're right, they're socialists.
Liberals can be very, very good people.
You're right.
These are solid core leftists, and they're not as bad as the 3 city council members that were elected in that faux mail-in election. Again, folks, it's an election. You have the one responsibility you have besides following the laws: vote in elections.
Yes.
Okay. Even if you just say Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and Elmer Fudd, vote in an election, and you're too damn lazy. With all of the bad things going on here in Tucson, we're coming back to the election, and Janet will be with us in just a second. We hope, but they didn't even have the energy to do that. And I guess it's fair to ask the question: did they not do it because they didn't care? Or did they not cast their vote because they didn't think it would make a difference?
I think both of those are absolutely valid of why they didn't do it. Now, they should have done it. I make it a point to vote in every election no matter what.
Except for one time when I was out of the country, and it was before early ballots and so on, absentee ballots, were so easy to get, that I didn't vote. I voted in every city, every county, every federal election, every state election that there's been. I voted on bond issues. I voted, on referendums, you name it. I'm interested in it, and I think it's part of the responsibilities of being a citizen in this country.
Okay, so with that being said, in the few minutes we have left, how do we get people out to vote? Because take a look at the small turnout we had. If we had the majority of Republicans in the city voting, we could have turned that election.
Well, they weren't given Republican ballots, or they weren't given Democrat ballots. If you're a Democrat,
that's a good
you're
point.
Voting, okay.
But in general elections,
they could vote for whoever they want.
So how do we get people out?
Well, that's a good question that we'll talk about with Janet. So we'll be right back on the balance of today's show, talking with our first guest today, friend of the show, and Tucson City Council candidate Janet Wittenbraker. No channel flipping. You're watching Inside Track with Ebb and Bruce on Live the Dream. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Inside Track with Bruce Ash on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now a word from our sponsor.
It's termite season.
Hi, it's me.
And bugs fear the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control.
Go blue at Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. And stop paying too much to that national provider. Buy local for great service and affordable rates. Call Essential Pest Control because termites fear the blue.
Run for your life.
Call for the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. 886-3029. That's 886-3029. Or check online at essentialpest.com.
This is Eb Wilkinson with Wilkinson Wealth Management, where we manage money for gun owners. What does it mean to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired? It means designing a plan that allows you to do the things you want to do, outpace inflation, and never run out of money in your lifetime. If you want to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired, call me, Eb Wilkinson, at 777-1911. That's 777-1911 or WilkinsonWealthMGMT.com.
I'm proud to welcome my good friends at Tucson Iron and Metal Retail to Inside Track as an advertiser. Jamie Kipper and her staff are conservation experts. They sell round and square steel tubing, metal plate and roofing materials, as well as new and used steel, aluminum, and stainless steel to ranchers, artists, interior designers, roofers, as well as you do-it-yourselfers out there. Tucson Iron and Metal Retail is open Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail, 701 East 36th Street. Call 520-209-1576. That's 520-209-1576, or go to TucsonIronRetail.com. Come by and be sure to ask for Jamie. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail. This is what conservation and repurposing is all about.
Welcome back to Inside Track with Bruce Ash on the Live the Dream Media Network. Now back to our show.
Welcome back to Inside Track with Bruce and Eb. This portion of the show brought to you by Wilkinson Wealth Management. Eb helps gun owners with their retirement accounts. He does a great job for my family and myself. He'll do the same for your family. Call him today at 777-1911. We should do the thing. 777-1911. Eb?
And I was trying to look something up for you, Bruce, and it's gone.
Inside Track is also brought to you by my 60-year-old commercial real estate company, Paul Ash Commercial Real Estate. They make good things happen every day. And we hope you'll call on our good friend Eric Rudin's great team at Essential Pest Control. You can rely upon the Essential Pros. Call them at 886 We'll give him the click as well. 3029 to protect your home or business from all manner of pests, vermin, and all kinds of bats and weeds.
He
too.
does such a great job. His people are so nice, so polite.
Yep, they are.
When they leave, you can't tell they've been there.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. And finally, if you need steel products for your home, business, ranch, or farm, call Jamie Kipper at Tucson Iron and Metal Surplus. They are Tucson's conservation specialists. Call them at 209-1576 or go to the yard at 701 East 36th Street. You'll be amazed by their great products sold at wholesale prices. Eb and I are very pleased to welcome the Republican nominee in this fall's city council election, Janet Wittenbraker. How are you? How are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good, thank you. I was out a little late last night.
Yeah? Was there like a party or something?
There was a little party. You know, initially I had thought, I'm just going to have a quiet dinner with my core supporters, and Kathleen Wynn threw something together kind of spontaneously. So it was nice. It was nice. There was actually a woman there who was a Democrat. And I had never seen him before. As Republicans, we have our secret handshake and we all hang out together. Right. And she told me that she was very interested in what we have to say because she is pro-life and she feels her party has completely turned their back on the sanctity of life.
She's right.
She is right, yeah.
So where was this party?
I was at the Viscount at Wilbur's. the little bar and
Sure.
grill that they have in there. Yeah.
A lot of people?
It was about 24 to 30, half a dozen.
So earlier
I mean,
this
that's not half a dozen. I told you I was out late last night.
so earlier this
New
morning,
math.
earlier this morning on Chris's Wake Up Show, he was talking about the election yesterday, and it looks as though just when you think the Tucson City Council could not get more radical, it looks like that the City Council may get more radical if these radicals get elected. Your thoughts?
I am incredibly disappointed in the Democrat Party. Miranda Schubert and Sadie Shaw were both endorsed by and accepted the Socialist Democrats' endorsement.
Yeah. Democrats, Socialists of America, DSA.
And I'll tell you a funny story. I was watching the Project Blue meeting on August 4th. I had already been to one meeting and already seen the other one, so I decided, well, what the hey, I have nothing better to do, so I watched it. And the city manager was making the point that, hey, look, if we vote for this Project Blue, it has to go to the Corporation Commission. And a woman in the audience shouted, but they're Republicans. Well, look, dummy. It's your all Democrat mayor and council that are taking you down this road.
Right.
Maybe you ought to start looking. It's actually the conservative Republican that is concerned about this being just bulldozed
Right.
by the supervisors and the mayor and council. But yet they continue to vote for the same thing. Miranda Schubert was quoted this morning in the paper as saying, people kept telling me not to be as progressive. No, progressive works. And, I don't know if folks have driven through Tucson lately, but it's a shithole. It is. I'm sorry.
You couldn't say that on the other station. You can say it here.
I know.
And you're not getting beeped.
And
We were talking about that earlier.
were you?
Yeah.
I got off Park on the freeway to install some signs. It's, time to get signs out citywide. And Greg DeLeon, my partner, was with me. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. He and I both didn't feel safe getting out of the car. We are losing our
You
community.
must have been in the same neighborhood that I drove through 2 Thursdays ago and felt exactly the same way.
Yeah. Park, 6th,
Bilby, Drexel, all those areas.
Swan and Speedway.
Yeah, for that matter.
So, yeah, you're right. Swan and Speedway?
Yeah.
Tanca Verde and Sabino Canyon, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Fort Lowell.
I was going to say
yeah.
Fort Lowell, Oracle, Fort Lowell Country Club, that
All the
whole
way to
area.
Swan.
Listen, I was driving down probably 2 weeks ago, and I always make it a point to not drive in the right-hand lane because I almost hit a guy that stumbled into the road.
I worry about that now. I never used to think about that before. But what if some guy just fell into the street? What do you do?
Well, you call the ambulance.
Well, yeah, but
And we were talking about Tanca Verde Sabino Canyon, right near where my company
Right.
has an office. There have been
you
four.
thought you were going to be far enough away from that business when you relocated there.
Absolutely. 4 knife hatchet attacks
Right.
in the past month or so. Every time I go to the Safeway there, my head's on a swivel.
So, Janet, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
There probably wasn't much better than about a 10%
Voter turnout. For the Republicans, it was 15%. I'll tell you, Tara Oster, Mike Weingard, Gary Olson, Sarah Ramsey. We're a small core group, but we seriously knocked doors. And if we were to look at 2021, we grew the vote
Yeah, good
by
point.
35%. that knocking doors really is the difference.
Sure, they want to see somebody's face, and somebody has the moxie to come and talk with them.
Yeah,
right?
and you can say, okay, 15%, the Republicans were uncontested. Okay, fair. But overall, for the Democrat side, it was still only like 24%.
All right, so let's just say that there was an average 20% turnout. I thought it was less, but let's just say it's 20%. Mm-hmm. It's a mail-in ballot. They got the ballot. They didn't have to go to a voting center.
Right.
They didn't have to stand in line with 108 degrees.
Didn't have to put a stamp on it.
Right. Did they not vote? Did the other 80% not vote, A, because they were ambivalent, or B, because they didn't think it would make any difference whoever was elected?
I think voter apathy is a problem. I think the off-year election is also a problem. There is confusion in how the city elections are structured. Primary is ward only. General election is citywide. And I'll tell you, when I ran for mayor in 2023, it was only 24% vote. And I say
In the general?
In the general.
Yeah.
And I say, folks, you have to vote to make the difference.
And think about how consequential that election was. The things that have happened since then.
Oh, absolutely. Even all you know on Project Blue folks, it's Regina Romero that's selling you down the river.
You know, there was some talk earlier this morning on Chris's show about Grand Canyon University when the council said, we're not going to let them, they don't share our values. Regina Romero, when the project was first brought to her as a council person, she liked the idea. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the people in her ward went crazy. El Rio, when she did her reversal, it was her lifeline. Okay, because she flipped and she won her election. If she would have held with her beliefs at that time and allowed GCU in, that area of town would be in far better condition than it is today, but she would be out of office. That thing saved her political career. Is it possible that Project Blue ends her career?
I believe it is possible. So I worked for the city manager's office when Grand Canyon proposed that they come down here.
Yeah, you were an insider.
I was an insider. And it would have meant, what it would have meant for Tucson is $100 million in construction costs for just the initial phase.
Sure.
So all those contractors that are advocating for Project Blue, which I won't bore your audience with the details, but it's basically a tilt-up. It's not going to be a tremendous amount of work. There's the,
It's like building an industrial building.
Yeah, there's the guts, the HVAC, plumbing, et cetera. Electrical. But it would have meant $100 million. And Regina backed out, not just because of her constituency, but also because of Pima Community College wanting to start their own nursing program. It was a travesty for Tucson. It could have changed Tucson immensely.
And the University of Arizona was against it as well.
And exactly. And it would have kept the University of Arizona held to the same standard as Grand Canyon University.
And that's what they don't want.
They didn't want a cap on those tuitions, right? And by the way, Grand Canyon University shares my values.
Right.
But
and a lot of people, even here in blue, the blue impacted area of Tucson, they share your values and our values.
Yes. And but here's the thing, back to your original question. Regina would have lost because only those type of supporters vote. That's who's deciding.
And in a primary election, that would have been deadly.
Yes. But if you think about it, and I know your audience is likely our voting demographic, but we need you to talk to everyone. We need your audience to host parties, bring in our candidates, get people engaged. We have to get out the vote because by not voting, they're allowing the radical left, Not the
isn't-
normal left.
And this isn't just some like crazy lady kind of, or crazy guy sort of thing where, they have some kooky views on one or two issues. The Democrats, Socialists of America endorse these people because they embrace their agendas.
Yes, and it's terrifying.
This is New York City and Tucson
Right?
Absolutely.
going on. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. Let's get back to. I got a whole list of things here to talk about, but let's get back to what Bruce and I were talking about before you came on. How do we get people out to vote?
Well, door knocking is the single most effective way. There were times we knocked in the 85705 district, which is just stricken with high poverty, high crime, and we tell people, "Hey, go get your ballot. Let's fill it out now." One lady even brought it, coffee stains and all. She'd been using it as a coaster.
Oh, God.
So we need lots of volunteers to do that. And if you can't knock doors, we can certainly ask you to call. Calling is effective as well. Same thing. You're on the phone. Go get your ballot. Let me tell you what you need to do with it. We have to show people that we can change Tucson. And one thing to know about me, and is I'm nice. I'm actually a nice person, and I'm polite. And I never want to be harsh on someone, and to the degree that I'll hey, we can work this out. We can talk to one another. It's time to get angry. And I woke up this morning when I saw the election results last night. I was not just taken aback. That's when the anger started to build. What the heck are we doing here? We are losing our city. We're losing jobs. And then so I thought this morning, no more Miss Nice Guy here. Folks, it's time to get angry and be that voice of reason, but be firm in our beliefs. And we believe in God, family, and country, and not necessarily in that order. God always first, of course.
Whichever order works for you, but as long as it's those three, those are good things.
Yes.
So when your opponent woke up, or maybe last night she said this, there was a rant, a total TDS ramp on Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. This was the resistance, the fists, and it's all about Donald Trump, and we're preventing Donald Trump from running our city. Is that a unifying message from her?
It is to her voters. That is the deal. It is to their voters.
But it completely ignores Tucsonans.
Kevin Dahl did the same exact thing. It was a Trump, rant and how we're going to protect our city from him. If they would just follow his executive order with regards to homelessness, we can actually see improvements in our city. But
But they don't want that.
no. And by the way, Tucson is not under attack by Donald Trump. Haven't spoken to the man. He's not coming for us. I do hope they come down and take audit of Pima County elections records. But no. Tucson needs to help Tucson. And I said this before when I ran for mayor. We actually take this country back one city at a time, not one nation at a time. And Tucson used to be a very red city, and it's our fault.
Briefly.
It's our fault for sitting back and letting it happen.
What about the free bus?
That is a travesty.
What is that costing Tucson?
Hundreds of millions. They put it at about 20 million, but the reality is they're subsidizing SunTrans, who, by the way, is a very large corporation. And they're putting drivers at risk. They're putting passengers at risk. And they're also shuffling homelessness camps all through all through the
And
10.
crime all through
all
the
through.
crime.
That's exactly what happened to my neighborhood off Country Club in Fort Lowell. And there's a bus stop there, and now
I know the bus stop.
you know the bus stop, and we have. I'll tell you this. I was leaving my house the other day. I had to go to a meeting. I was leaving my house, and here come walking down my neighborhood. It's not a person that lives in my neighborhood, and not a very reputable looking person. And I thought to myself, he just saw me leave. And there was this moment of panic, knowing that the alarm's on, all my doors are locked, there's locks on my gates, and still it was near panic to me. Like I thought, well, I should go home. And why are we allowing the mayor and council to put us in those conditions?
And they've endorsed homelessness. They've endorsed lack of sobriety by their failure to act.
Right.
Now, I've got good news for you. There's a great gun shop on the northwest corner of Fort Lowell and Country Club called Murphy's.
Yeah.
881-7074. We need them as a sponsor.
We may want to do that.
Yeah.
I'll meet you there. We'll get you a gun. We'll get you the training. And you don't ever have to worry about that ever again.
You know, and for the first time in my life, I took training. Not something that I was inclined to, not something I grew up on, and I took training for that very reason.
Good.
And but I'll tell you, that business, they fortunately they carry firearms, but
The Circle K right next to it.
yeah, when you drive by, I told this to Chris the other day. I had to stop at that gas station, and it was at night. And there was no choice. I mean, the car was even, puttering
You were
a
on
little.
fumes, huh?
I was on fumes.
Don't do that again.
And yeah, I know. And so I saw. I wasn't just afraid. The things that I saw between the Circle K and the gun shop.
Yeah.
Someone was shooting up.
Absolutely.
Another man
That's
came.
an everyday thing here.
That is an everyday thing. And if it's everyday thing and it happens every night, why aren't we doing something about it? It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
They've decriminalized shooting up. They've decriminalized homelessness. They've decriminalized begging on the streets, camping in the streets. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah. And Kevin Dahl, when they took the vote, to prohibit sleeping in the washes in the parks, he wanted them to continue to sleep in the washes in the parks. And yet our neighborhoods next to the washes just have to deal with it. And when they caught the wash on fire, if there was a strong fire, our neighborhood would have been gone. But we should just deal with it.
So let's talk about homelessness a little further. What part about the city's policies on homelessness and sobriety and so on are humanitarian?
None at all. They argue that housing first is the answer. We know it's not.
Right.
But they'll put these people in hotels, and whether they or apartment complexes, and whether they're sober or not, whether they're dealing with substance abuse or not. So they're putting families who happen to be down on their luck, happen to need assistance. They're putting those families in with the drug addicts. And we saw that. I think it was an apartment building off Stone that they completely trashed. And there are drugs, paraphernalia everywhere, but there's young children living there. There's nothing humane about that. We can look at other cities, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Stockton, California, even, that have seen success in some of their programs. And we could take those successes and apply them to how they
Well, we have the example right here with
Gospel Rescue Mission.
Yeah, with the Bert Lopez project on Palo Verde. I mean, it works. In fact, it works so well that the city objects to it and won't put any of their people there because they know that they'll have fewer people who are dependent upon them when these people get off drugs and get off alcohol and start living a clean life and have that God, country, and family.
And so basically what you're telling me is the city is promoting slavery.
They are.
Yeah. And
we need to take that and make that a message.
yeah, and there is such a thing as the industrial homelessness complex. People are getting rich. Apartment buildings are getting rich. Hotels are getting rich. They want those people to be there
Until the money runs out.
And but they want those conditions to remain so they can continue. I'll be nice this time, but
Don't be nice.
Okay, sucking the tit of the federal government. They want to get rich from these people. There is nothing humane about it. There is nothing humane.
These are the same people that Dave Schweikert says these so-called conservative Republicans say to him before the big beautiful bill was passed. Oh, this is a great thing, but my project you should excuse. Okay?
Right.
My project needs the money. Don't cut that. Don't cut that at all. Let's end here in a second. I want to hear from you about Project Blue. If you're elected, when you're elected, if the vote hasn't already taken place, this may be one of your first votes.
Well, if or when I'm elected, then maybe I would actually get to see all of the facts. The truth of the
Does it offend you that this was kept in secret for so long?
Yes, it does.
It should offend everybody who lives here.
It should. And they still haven't provided all of the information. Each session that I've attended is the exact same information.
Right.
And the general response being, trust us, you'll be fine. All these other cities that had problems with their data centers, just trust us. Well, if we can't trust the city of Tucson to get Grant Road finished, why the heck should we trust them with our natural environment? And given the amount of dollars that they've spent on climate change, how can you turn around and say, trust us? We have plenty of water. Trust us.
The mayor sold a significant amount of our water supply to fund some goofy projects that she and the council wanted. Having that extra water usage is not a good thing for us, and they're always talking about sustainability. This is not a good deal for Tucson. Not a good deal for the environment either.
I will remain neutral until I see all the facts, which means I would, I essentially go against it. I oppose it. I'm leaning towards this is not good for Tucson. It's not good for our job growth. There are arguments that in some ways supports that, but no, not on the start. $64,000 a year, and they're billing that as a high-paying income. That's just slightly above the median income.
And there's only 75 jobs that they're guaranteeing for any more than 3 years.
Yes. And think about it. Let's see. We don't have an abundance of water. We don't have, what else do we not have? We don't have the energy.
We're giving up electric capacity.
We don't have that capacity.
It's going to be 108 degrees today.
But guess what we do have? We have cheap labor and cheap land. There's no other reason they want to come here. Just that. And instead of saying, oh, no, we want to grow professional jobs, we want to grow high-paying trade jobs, we want to grow other high-paying businesses such as skilled warehouse workers. Instead, Tucson's selling us out to those low-paying jobs. When I knock on doors in the 85705 district, there are people living in the poorest of poorest conditions. We're not doing them any favors, not at all. But if, and it's funny, if they build a golf course out there or a luxury resort or something else, it would hire
Maybe blocking streets and taking over city government and going crazy.
Every level of employee is hireable through a resort such as that. Everything from janitorial to services to general managers. And we could take advantage of our natural resources. And instead, just another low-paying job.
Well, Janet, we're at the end of the time that we have here at Live the Dream Media. It flew, as it always does. We're going to have you back to talk more as the campaign continues. Tell our listeners and viewers how they can find you and help you.
Janet for FOR Tucson.com. So it's Janet for Tucson.com. You just click the donate button, you click the contact number, and I give right back to you.
And this is for volunteers as well as help financially and so on.
Yes, campaigns are expensive. And we saw with the Lane Santa Cruz race of 2023, they spent $250,000. And our team isn't bringing in that kind of money. So we need every little bit everyone can contribute. And keep in mind here, you have Janet Wittenbraker and Jay Tolkoff. If you elect the two of us, you now have someone making a motion and someone seconding a motion, and we can actually start having those tough conversations.
Janet for Tucson.com. We got to go. All of our Inside Track podcasts are available on the Live the Dream Media's Facebook page, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and X. Thanks for joining us today. Until next Wednesday when we return, this is Bruce Ash.
Eb Wilkins.
And
J.L. Wittenbraker.
Wishing you all a good day. Be sure to see us again in 167 hours.
It's termite season.
Hi, it's me.
And bugs fear the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control.
Go blue at Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. And stop paying too much to that national provider. Buy local for great service and affordable rates. Call Essential Pest Control because termites fear the blue.
Run for your life.
Call for the blue trucks from Essential Pest Control. 886-3029. That's 886-3029. Or check online at essentialpest.com.
This is Eb Wilkinson with Wilkinson Wealth Management, where we manage money for gun owners. What does it mean to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired? It means designing a plan that allows you to do the things you want to do, outpace inflation, and never run out of money in your lifetime. If you want to retire comfortably and remain comfortably retired, call me, Eb Wilkinson, at 777-1911. That's 777-1911 or WilkinsonWealthMGMT.com.
I'm proud to welcome my good friends at Tucson Iron and Metal Retail to Inside Track as an advertiser. Jamie Kipper and her staff are conservation experts. They sell round and square steel tubing, metal plate and roofing materials, as well as new and used steel, aluminum, and stainless steel to ranchers, artists, interior designers, roofers, as well as you do-it-yourselfers out there. Tucson Iron and Metal Retail is open Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail, 701 East 36th Street. Call 520-209-1576. That's 520-209-1576. Or go to TucsonIronRetail.com. Come by and be sure to ask for Jamie. Tucson Iron and Steel Retail. This